I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. This is another request for Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request pretty much any type of video or movie topic, review, whatever, you just send the request directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you so much. Now, this is a review for a film called Steer Package, which I had never heard of, but it came out, some say 2019, some say 2020, I don't know exactly which one, but it's an anthology film that's very much ode to old school, like VHS type of stuff, but more in the point of they mention a lot of VHS. There's a portion of the film that takes place in a VHS store. There's references to Joe Bob Briggs and slasher films and stuff of that nature. But it's not like as if it's filmed like an 80s film or anything of that nature. And overall, as an anthology film, I didn't mind this. I did not mind the film. I have some issues with it. I think there's some stories in here you could have completely taken out and then give that running time to some of the other stories to strengthen them a bit more. There's a few stories that I'd change a couple things, but this was still, I thought, rather fun to watch. The thing with anthologies is that they're stories and they're so short when they put a lot. I mean, this is, along with the wraparound, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 7 stories, plus mixed in with a wraparound, and a certain amount of the running time, which means some of these stories are fairly, at least they seem fairly quick, to the point of, why was this even a part of it? Just give that running time to this or that story. And because there's such short stories, how do I talk about them without giving stuff away? That's the tough thing about anthologies. I mean, there is some creative stuff. There's quite a few fun moments that I got a kick out of. There's some nice gore and goop. There's some nice references to Joe Bob Briggs and The Breakfast Club, and one guy's trying to get hired for the VHS store, and the boss asks, "So, which is better, Leprechaun in the Hood or Leprechaun in Space?" In space? But did not all the stories work. So, to go through the stories, to vaguely hint at what the story's about, I don't even know if I can do that. So I can only do it with spoilers. I apologize. So starting now, you have the cold opener, and it's called that. I'll get to why. This one I didn't mind, where it's this guy. It's fairly meta. So he's changing signs to lead people to an insane asylum, or he's the guy that curses items and then has to leave the movie. And he's like, man, I'm tired of being this guy that's just a nobody. I want to be more part of a movie. I want to be the hero. And so he's sent in to do a menial job to fuck up people in the movie or be part of it. He's a guy. He'll come in to cut power, then he has to leave the movie. But here he tries to help these people, but then he accidentally, because of what's going on in certain circumstances, gets people killed. And he puts this mask on to blind him from the blood, and so then it makes the appearance that he's the killer, so he's accidentally become the killer in this movie. Like, one girl slipped and fell on a knife, and the way that was handled, I thought the lead actor did a good job. It was fun to see what would happen next and how these events happened, and I thought the meta stuff actually worked well in this. If you're not into meta, might not for you. And I thought it was a nice transition where then it cuts to the guy has a script called Cold Opening. And the other guy says, I don't know about all that meta stuff. So this was a script that this guy had written and was telling this other guy. And then the other guy drops him off, and then we follow the other guy who's the boss of this VHS store. And he's got like a Joel Bob Briggs picture in his rearview mirror. He's driving a car that looks like Freddy Krueger's car with a color scheme. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm kind of enjoying the vibe of this. I'm enjoying the... It's not a film to take seriously. It's definitely comedy, horror. The fact a chunk of it takes place at a VHS store, I'm a sucker for, because I used to work at a video store. I miss that. And the stories kind of get put in because either they're talking about VHS tape and then it cuts to a story, or someone puts in a tape and it cuts to that story. I thought that was a nice way of doing that. A lot better than VHS. Like, do you want to talk about anthology horror films that deal with VHS? This is better than VHS. Although I would say VHS 2 is better than this. I would say this is better than VHS 3. Just there's only one story I liked in VHS Viral, and that's the skateboarder segment. I maintain if you took that skateboarder segment and you put that in VHS 2, like, take out the stupid fucking thing with the guy with the eyeball and just put in the skateboarder from VHS Viral, be excellent. But anyway, another story pretty much about how this customer is talking about how unexpected this movie was, and then that's what this segment is. Totally unexpected, incredibly gory, and fairly fun. It's hard giving this stuff away to get a kick out of it. But spoilers, people are out in the woods, and this green gun is falling off him. He's changing. It's like, kill me. And they're hitting him with sticks. Sticks won't work, you fucks. And his skin's getting torn apart. But then they pause it because something about silver. And so street trash when people are melting, that's what this guy was melting, but it stops halfway through, so he's mostly melted. It's a pretty fun practical effect. Great, you pause the transformation. That's good, but he looks like a green melted version of that. Remember what Bill Paxton turned to in Weird Science? Imagine if that was more green, goopy, street trash style and more melted. And then he's narrating throughout the rest of it, because then all of a sudden it turns to a slasher film with this one guy, and he's throwing fucking axes into people's crotches, and then now it's turned to a backwoods slasher, and the puddle guy's narrating, someone throws a rock at someone's head and it explodes. So it's just going all out crazy insane, and that was a fun segment. I thought that was one of the more entertaining. Like, oh shit. Like, what the fuck? the first story I didn't care for was this one where you have this husband who's emasculated, who is owned by the pussy, so to speak, and he goes to this group, but then you realize that the group are werewolves. I'm like, is this gonna be like Full Eclipse? Like, well, that was about cops, but a guy comes in, be part of our werewolf group, and then the guy starts shooting the werewolves. But I don't know, like the action wasn't handled that well. It wasn't that. I mean, previously we got all this insanity where axes are going here and people's heads exploding from fucking rocks, and then you get to this and killing the werewolves. It should have been even more entertaining, like dog soldiers or gory, or it just wasn't really that exciting. It kind of really jumped into it because there's that much screen time to build up. Like he's part of this group, and then all of a sudden they're werewolves. And then he goes back to his wife, and they're part of some cult. So I guess killing these werewolves did something with this cult. I didn't fucking understand that. I didn't understand that at all. I didn't get what the fuck the point was. Okay, he killed these werewolves for his wife, and they're part of this cult. That's a segment that could have been completely taken out. It's confusing. It's not that exciting. It's not that gory. It's compared to what we had just seen. You could give that more screen time to some other stories. That could be, and the next one could have been taken out too, where this long title dealing with feminists, someone at the VHS store finds it, and then it cuts to what that is, and it's these three women. They're at a shop. Someone steals a skull-shaped orange sucker popsicle, and apparently if you lick it, you get an orange face mask. Fucking pumpkin heads. And I guess you have this figure that's following them throughout it, and then after they've all turned with this face pumpkin light because they licked this orange popsicle, I guess the killer comes in, and then it cuts to the killer's like face down, and their three girls like bouncing with pillows flying, and that's how it ends. I go, what the fuck? Is that the end? Was that it? It was tame. Really nothing happened. It felt like it was only 5 minutes fucking long, and it made me go, why was this even in here in the first place? You literally could go take a shit, come back, and you will have missed the entire fucking thing. So it just makes it all fucking pointless. Why is this in here? Why was this a part of it? It doesn't have much of any screen time like the previous one. Though these two stories, you could have taken out and put more into the final story, or the crazy backwoods slasher meets with street trash body melt story, or the next two stories. Or just have 5 instead of 7 stories. And that's a work at a better, faster pace of a entire movie. It gets back on track with the next one, where it's a final girl who's tired of this killer coming back for the next time. So it's her and this group trying to find all the different ways to kill this killer, whether stabbing him, jumper tables, stuffed with firecrackers, and some people keep getting killed even though it's a killer they're trying to kill this slasher villain. They have him tied up, but they've even cut him in half, and the legs actually put around someone's neck. And that's the thing with a lot of these. They're very silly, they're very stupid. So if you go in that mindset that they're very silly, stupid stuff, I think some people will get a kick out of it. Maybe not everybody. There's even a usage of a wood chipper in here. This I didn't mind. I didn't mind the idea of, okay, what if you try to do everything you can to make sure this guy stays dead? And I didn't mind that bit. But yet he always comes back because gotta wait for a sequel. So I get the intention behind it. And that was a bit of fun because of the variety of weirder ways of them trying to kill this thing. And that's the thing, if you took some of the running time from that and put it in here, I would not have minded even more craziness as to what insane levels they will try to have this guy or this killer stay dead. But I mean, either way. The next story was fairly short, but again, I think if you took some of those other stories, cut them out and put them in there, I would have liked this to be a bit longer. It's about this guy who gets killed, and then he becomes a spirit, and possesses his girl, but the trick is, the difference is, the girl, as she's possessed, goes home, the guy starts watching the show, and the girl gets pissed because she doesn't want spoilers for the show. And so she's fighting her possession, literally gets out of the body, and literally fighting him physically, beating the shit out of him, because she doesn't want spoilers. And I would like to have had a longer fight, like a more crazy, insane fight where it goes throughout the entire house, and insane balls to the wall, go for broke. You know, what Blues Brothers did for car crashes, this would do with fights and insanity. Really go off the cuff, over the top. But it seemed as if, I don't know if they didn't have the time or what. They were limited with time, I don't know. But she wins, and then her fucking buddy fucking spoils it for her on the phone, and she gets pissed about it. But I do think that's that's something that, sadly, because it's short, it's one of those where that's sadly where it falters. Like, take away the fucking skull-shaped sucker and the pussy husband who fights werewolves and is a cult with his wife. Take those shit out, put more into this story. And then the final story is interesting. Honestly, kind of a better take on Cabin in the Woods. In a way, it kind of is a better take of Cabin in the Woods, because the video store guy, who's the boss, he gets kidnapped. He's put into this room with a bunch of other stereotypes. The lead girl, the jock, the black guy, the stoner. And it's in this facility that goes apeshit. Sadly, not from a lot of monsters. I think that would have been cool if they actually did that. But just from one slasher type killer. And this one had a lot of fun references. Like the guy saying we're in a horror film, but the stoner thinks they're in a John Hughes Breakfast Club film. Some interesting kills. One scientist is killed by being impaled by a treadmill. I've never seen that before. And spoiler alert, spoilers, Joel Bob Briggs makes an appearance, which was cool because I'm a big Joel Bob Briggs fan. Now, unfortunately, a few years later, they do kill him off, but it's still, they do it in a fun way where he's on there and the VHS guy's being so stupid. So Joel Bob Briggs is like, "You're an idiot," and then dies. So, you know, it's at least being fun, still keeping that fun tone. But I would have changed it where Joel Bob Briggs becomes one of the last survivors. Or you think he's dead, and then he comes back at the end to save the girl, and they hold off. I think that would have been better. If I could write and direct it, that's what I would have done. But, you know, it makes it seem like it's going to be a downer ending, but it isn't. It's an upbeat ending. There's an appearance from the guy at the very beginning of the film, from the cold opener. He wanted to be the hero. Now he finally gets to be the hero, so it's a nice, like, full circle on that aspect. That's what I mean. Like, it ended on a nowhere. Also, I think the killer. Believe it, I think the killer is Gold Dust. I think it's Dustin Rhodes, the wrestler, who was Gold Dust and now he wrestles as Dustin Rhodes. I think he plays the killer in this. Or at least he does in a flashback of the killer. I'm not sure if he's the killer in the suit, but in a flashback, that's Dustin Rhodes. I'm like, holy shit, that's Gold Dust. Okay, interesting. There's also some nice gore in here. One character gets it, which I'm like, I'm not surprised. And pretty damn gory. I won't give that away. But yeah, I think the movie as an anthology, it's a fun one. It's imperfect. It has its issues. Not all the stories work. I think at least 2 of the stories could have been easily taken out. Either just settle with the 5 stories or give the running time to some others. The one with the final girl who's tired of killing the mass murderer, so she keeps trying to find ways. I think there's more that could have been done with the ending of that segment. The fact that the guy becomes a pile of blood and then still has an arm up. I think it would have been more fun if the girl was actually successful, but the guy tries to come back, but he can't, and he like gives up. It's like, damn, this bitch is crazy. You'd even have that line, like Sasha, man, that bitch is crazy. I don't want to come back. Yeah, I think there could have been a more funnier ending to that segment. The girl that's literally fighting her possession, literally physically, I think the fight could have been longer, a little bit more prominent of an ending to that segment. The last one, I would have given Joe Bob Briggs the hero role. I mean, you got Joe Bob Briggs, I think that's a missed opportunity, but it was cool to see him surprise the fuck out of me. I mean, yeah, I saw that the guy had a Joe Bob Briggs thing on his car, rear view mirror, but I didn't think he would actually be in it. So that was a plus, because I'm a big Joe Bob Briggs fan. I wish there was a set that had all the Monster Vision segments. Every single one in one set. So I could just watch them. I wish. But I think you can find some of them on YouTube. I don't know if it's all of them. But yeah, it has some really nice gore. Has some clever moments. Again, not all the stories work, but I think if you like anthology films and owes the 80s movies, it's a fun movie. It's a fun film to pop in or stream in this day and age. You could do a lot worse with anthologies. Whether it be Creepshow 3 or what was those fucking ones I saw? The Danzig one. Veronica. There's another one I saw. It's so bad I completely fucking forgot. There's one called The Dark Tapes, which was like a shitty found footage anthology film. I swear there's another one I saw and I don't remember a fucking thing about it. So this was a lot better than those. So this I had fun with. I'm glad I watched Steer Package. It's not scary. It's not meant to be. It's very silly, stupid, gory fun. But, you know, again, I enjoy it. It has a cool cover too. I like the poster of this. Very cool. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.